passion that built our nation now tears it apart. A minor skirmish that starts by accident explodes into the deadliest battle ever fought on U.S. soil. Two American armies face off in a small Pennsylvania farm town. Soon 50,000 will be dead, wounded, or missing. 3 days that change America forever.
Hello and welcome to Ultimate General Gettysburg with me, Bubblebox. What is Ultimate General Gettysburg? Well, it's a real-time strategy game where you lead thousands of soldiers in the famous Battle of Gettysburg, commanding either the Union or the Confederate Army. And in this game, we'll just move forward Davis and his units. We're going to be taking control of the Confederate Army and playing the AI, who will of course be the Unionists. We'll send a couple of our artillery over to our left flank to support up there, and a couple of our artillery to the right flank. We'll send our skirmishers to the right flank and one of the artillery pieces down the middle, and we'll send our two big brigades headed by Davis and Archer up the middle to engage with the enemy, which are trying to hold on this ridge. Now this is quite historically accurate, although the game does sort of have lots and lots of what-if scenarios built into it. Now the game does feature an accurate to reality map, which has a lovely look despite the bloodthirsty gameplay that takes place on its surface. It's a really nice looking map. This isn't the full extent of the map. It does go out much further to the east. This is Gettysburg here, to the east of Gettysburg, and also of course to the south of Gettysburg. And the parts of the map you will fight on depends on how well you do in this battle and in upcoming battles, whether you go forward, whether you get pushed back. And you can see my battalions are starting to engage with their muskets, with the artillery of the enemy firing into Archer's squad, and my artillery just trying to get into position. Now this game has a very intuitive and easy to follow control mechanic, enabling you to control the movement of your battalion led by your general. So this is our general here. This is Lieutenant General Ambrose P. Hill, and you can see he's got a circle around him. That's his circle of influence, and units that are around his circle will do better than if they're not, of course. And you simply engage by, we can move, you can circle everything. If you want to move more than one, you move just by moving the arrows like thus, and move your units just by dragging, or you can left click and then left click the enemy to engage. And also you can see we've got some recruits coming in. It tells you that on the right here. It tells you where they're coming in. They will appear from this point on the west of the map very, very shortly. The AI appears to be a pretty good opponent, with the game's difficulty levels established, or accomplished rather, by 9 distinctive AI personalities, each with their own advantage and special skills, aggressively or defensively, heroically or cunningly, etc., etc. Now during each of the battles you've got to try to secure certain strategic locations which are worth victory points, and you can see we've already got this one in red because the Confederates have the red victory points, so we've got 3,500, and the Unionists have this hill here, this ridge, Oak Ridge, worth 1,000 victory points, and this ridge here is this Lutheran Seminary, which is worth 2,500 points, and that's oh yes, and there's another victory point up here worth 500 victory points. That's at Oak Hill. Oh, that's Oak Hill. Okay, cool. So you need to basically get more victory points than your opponent in order to win this particular sub-battle of the main battle. Now the overall battle is dynamically fought in timed phases and can last up to 4 days. Each day can be separated by up to 3 time phases, and armies' condition and sort of positions on the map are saved from phase to phase. So each day you can have like 3 mini battles, in other words. So and depending on how you do, you might have less days to fight it if you do really, really well, or you might have up to 4 if you're struggling to beat the opposition. You can see my reinforcements have come in. What we're going to do, we're going to send Pettigrew over to the left flank, and we're going to send Brockenbrough over to the right flank, and get our artillery in a much better position to maybe even fire some canister rounds and get our skirmishers attacking Gamble's skirmishers as well. You can see he's got some, Gamble's got some cavalry down here poised to attack our flanks as well. So Davis is doing a good job. We'll shove him forward actually, and put him forward. In fact, we'll charge with Davis to try to break these units, and we've got our artillery over on the, we'll bring this artillery in a bit. This artillery is firing on Devin's skirmishers as well. Now, according to battle events in the game, you have the possibility to change the tide of battle based on your prior tactical prowess. So how you do in one battle will affect the choices you have in the next battle, and which battle you're able to fight after the first battle. I hope that makes sense. For example, this isn't today, but for example, when leading the Confederates on the morning of July the 2nd, you can choose to attack Cemetery Hill and not make a delayed flanking manoeuvre at Peach Orchard if you have managed to take Seminary Ridge the previous day. You can even choose to defend and wait for your AI opponent to take the initiative between days. These choices greatly increase the number of battle outcomes and challenges. Now, back to the map briefly. The map has a unique art style, as you can see, and using satellite images and historical maps, the devs have pretty much every major location, house, ridge and hill depicted as accurately as they possibly can, as accurately to real life, that is. It's also important in this game to understand, using the map and the hills and the ridges, etc., to understand the simulation of line and sight, cover, concealment, terrain and high ground in order to be successful at this game. And you can get like a topographical image if you press M for map. You can get sort of some idea of the ridges and the height advantages you'll gain, because this is all important. And in fact, we'll just move Davis forward a little bit, and we'll get Pettigrew coming over these artillery pieces. And I think it's Archer still moving forward. Yeah, and we've got Brockenbrough moving up to their flank to flank them on in the south. So it's important to understand where your units are, where the cover is, where the ridges are, if your artillery can get line of sight on the enemy, etc., etc. Now, Ultimate General Gettysburg does include the full order of battle for the Union Army of Potomac and the Confederate Army of Northern Virginia. Unit sizes range from small artillery batteries to vast infantry brigades with cavalry and skirmishers in between as well. So we've got our general here. We'll just move him up a little bit. Get Archer moving forward as well. So Archer's kind of a medium-sized, smallish medium-sized brigade. These artillery are quite, you can get smaller artillery brigades, you can get larger ones like then you can get skirmishers, like kind of light, fast-moving infantry units, the Heth's skirmishers, and you can get small cavalry brigades like Gamble's, and you can get much larger cavalry brigades in the future as well. And you can see up here we've got Davis. He's got quite a lot of units, 1,600 and 965, probably had a few more than that at the start of the game. And Pettigrew, who's got a massive brigade here, is going to come and attack the flanks very shortly. Now, all the brigades in the game have differing kind of competencies based on actual historical facts, and also the major generals and officers actively participate in battlefield to organise and support the armies, and will also appear in after-action battle reports to help you monitor battle progress. So you can click on our general here, the one that's leading this attack. So he's a 2-star general. You can have 1-star, 2-star or 3-star, I believe, and the more stars they have, the better they are at doing their job. We've just got a little thing up the left there, which means they're getting some reinforcements coming in from the west, from the east now as well. So we need to press home our attack and then try to dig in before all of their reinforcements arrive. We'll get Brockenbrough to engage Cutler over here, and we might get our skirmishers to try to rattle them a little bit as well, and get Pettigrew moving over onto the north part of their flank. Now the movement and engagement is very intuitive, very easy in this game as Cutler attacks Brockenbrow, and we'll just fall back a little bit there. It's very easy, very intuitive to move. You can see you just sort of left click and drag to engage a certain unit against another certain unit, left click and left click. You can fall back if you want. The units tend to do things themselves as well. So for example, if they're getting low on morale, they will sort of withdraw under their own steam. You don't have to babysit and look after all the units all the time. Now, elevations and obstructions will affect units' visibility. Realistically, units can make use of concealment and cover, like being in woods and forested areas, or in the towns, or in the actual main town of Gettysburg itself. They'll receive more cover, mainly to survive artillery barrages, and also to stage ambushes on the enemy, etc. The units enter or exit also a fog of war. We kind of haven't got a view of that in this game, but you'll see when units start to come in fact we're getting some more units coming in from the west. You can spot on time. There's a fog of war whereby they kind of come in, but you can't kind of see exactly how many there are or what their strength is and things. But as the units enter or exit, the fog of war gradually will sort of fade in and fade out. That's a nice little touch to the game there. Now, in Ultimate General Gettysburg, your units will not blindly follow your orders. Okay, they do have a certain amount of free will, but you will need to conserve things like their strength and courage for decisive battle actions. More importantly, morale is affected by many factors, including flank or very near rear, flank or rear attacks, casualties, volley shocks, artillery fire, and fatigue. So it's always important to keep an eye on the morale of your units and to try and keep it as high as possible. Furthermore, the topography of the map has a strategic role. Elevations, ridges and hills provide excellent firing positions and give increased sight, morale and accuracy to the troops that are stationed there. And you can see Brockenbrow is actually broken, and we're just going to fall back with Heth's skirmishers, although we're doing very, very well up on this side. I'm not concentrating too well on the game, I have to say, but the Unionists, you can see, bringing in a lot of reinforcements as we shall engage these with Petrogoo, and we're getting some more reinforcements coming in on the left as well. Now in this game, units placed close to one another tend to be more resilient to charges and to flank attacks, but are also, if they are very closely packed together, more vulnerable to artillery and projectile fire. And as the condition of your units starts to change dynamically over the battle, the effectiveness of your units and indeed of your whole army is affected. For example, units fire with more coordinated volleys when they have high morale and have more discipline and tight formations. In multiplayer, the game offers 5 maps for 1v1. Plans are apparently in the pipeline to expand to a campaign multiplayer and support cooperative gameplay between multiplayer armies. I have just tried one multiplayer game so far, so I haven't really delved into this a great deal, but it does seem fairly limited at the moment, although reading one of the forums it does say that they are going to add all this extra stuff into the multiplayer system, but we will see. A couple of pros and cons. Pros, well, the style of the game, the map looks really, really nice. The game mechanics are not too... You can pick this game up within 5-10 minutes of playing it and be pretty good at it. To get seriously good at it takes a little bit longer, but to get good at it and to be able to beat the AI and stuff doesn't take massive amount. You can move units around. It's fairly intuitive the way you play. Price, £10.99. Such good value for money when a lot of games now are sort of 30 or more pounds. That I think, you know, $10.99 is about 15, what's that, $16, $17. I think it's a really, really good value for money game for the amount of hours you can get out of it. Cons, well, the thing I find the hardest is getting a good line of sight with your artillery. Now I think that's been put in as a game mechanic because that in reality that was quite hard. in real life to get a good line of sight without shooting over your own units and, you know, getting behind buildings and trees and things. But it is sometimes it's almost impossible to get a line of sight on the enemy with your artillery, although the AI does have an advantage over you in that respect, in that it's able to place its artillery fairly easily on the map. Also, multiplayer, fairly at the moment limited replayability in multiplayer. There's only 5 maps, and I think it's just 1v1 at the moment as well, so very limited multiplayer. They're the only cons I can think of really. On the whole, a really nice game with a fantastic campaign, really nice easy play style. Despite the brutal nature of the battles, it is a joy actually to play this game, and yeah, good value for money. So that's about it, I think. So I'm going to be putting a series. We're going to be playing the Unions first of all on the channel, so please do like, comment and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.